Steve and Jill here.
Hello.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Stephen Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from sunny Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about the worst property on the best street. I got several personal stories for this.
I'm sure you both do.
What does it actually mean? Worst property in the best street? Why would you ever want the worst property on the best street? We'll explain it and why I think it's absolutely imperative and how it applies to info lots.
Cool.
Before we get into it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landinvestors.com online community. It's free, and as you're listening to us, please drop your questions into the comments section below.
Ellis asks, I've been thinking about mailing to a very rural county, but there's literally no data. There are a couple of big acre properties, like 300 to 400 acres, listed on Realtor, LandWatch, Land and Farm, etc., but no properties with sizes in my price range. Frankly, I can't even determine what sizes are in my price range because of the lack of data. I can't determine who to mail to and at what price. On the other hand, the area has good attributes, is modestly scenic, and has literally no competition from what I can tell. No kidding. Should I take a stab in the dark?
You had me right up to the last sentence. How is this a stab in the dark? If it was a stab in the dark, you would have just sent mail out to anywhere. You know, this is not a stab in the dark. You've done about 80% of the research already. You found out all of this information. You've done everything right. So the question should be that you should be asking, in my opinion, is it worth it to give it a shot? Is it worth it to send mail in a very intelligent and premeditated, pretty much looking into a crystal ball? Because I can tell you what's going to happen, right. And so can Jill. Before I tell you what's going to happen, Jill, do you want to comment?
No.
You're going to kill it.
I'm just kidding.
You're going to kill it in this county if you price it right. Absolutely kill it.
I'm totally teasing. You know me, I always have something to say. So I love it. I love those areas when there's not much.
Me too.
So there's only big, so there's big properties, but none of the little properties.
For sale.
For sale. God, that makes me think that if I come along with some like a 20 acre or 10 acre or something like that, I'm going to kill it. It's going to get snatched right up.
Absolutely.
Too bad. I mean, here's something down the road too. By the way, if you can even find these big acreages, if you find a good deal to big acreage property, there happen to be people in the group that can help you fund it. Then you can divide it up into small acres. Holy cow. And then really kill it. That would be my game plan.
Some of the home runs that Joe and I have done have been in counties like this, where there's just no data.
Right.
So here's some of the problems with this. When it's very rural, it doesn't seem like it's too rural. It just seems like there's not a lot of comparison values.
Right.
It's going to be a little more expensive. That's okay.
Yep.
That's totally okay. That can work to your advantage. And you have to make sure that the county itself has a GIS system and people work there and things like that. Believe it or not, there's some counties that are pretty much borderline dysfunctional about recording deeds and getting information and locations of property and things like that. So pull some data out of RealQuest. I can't tell by your question if you're a member or not. My first gut reaction was you're not, because this question would have been, it would have been
answered.
Obvious. Yeah.
Yeah, in the program.
In the program itself.
What to look for.
The program
what triggers.
would show you how to do this and tell you that it's great.
Right. Well, that's one of the things that's great about, let me back up, because I was just talking to someone about this the other day. What people say, why are you guys all so successful? What the heck? You have people all over the country, hitting markets all over the country.
I have to say this before you get into this, because I personally love these stories, because I know you talk to potential members and existing members a lot.
Yeah.
And I never do. So it's really good to hear
my stories.
What people say. Well, you're on the front lines, so I want to hear what people have to say. Go ahead.
Well, people are still walking around thinking that there's a secret county list, and that's what I think is the stupidest thing on the planet. It's not a secret county list, and if you're in that secret county list, well, you're one of how many are that are in that secret county? That's counties that we're not touching. Congratulations. So that's number one. So that's the funniest thing. No, and what you really need to know is how to pick a good county, what triggers to look for, get inside Stephen's head and figure out the process, not a list. What things, like looking at population density and the tax situation, and
there's no guessing.
property, how properties are conveyed, and there's lots of things that go into it that make things a good county. And what my point is, that's who we are, and what we're sharing is not like, hey, it works over here in Orange County. I know you can do X, Y, Z, have fun. No, now we're all over in Orange County tripping on each other. Not that we would be. There's enough property, but you know what I'm saying. What's better is, like what this person is asking us, like, what's your mindset? And that's really what everybody should be asking. It's an excellent question. What's your mindset? Should I be afraid of this or not be afraid of it, and why? And that's what this whole show's about too. Right. It's really, what you should be thinking about. And what's great is, as we're describing these situations, I don't know if it's Northern California, or I don't know if it's in Louisiana.
Right.
I don't know if it's Georgia. I don't know
you can apply
if
all
it's
of it to the same.
It
applies.
Washington State. Dream it up. It all applies. That's what you need to know, is you need to learn and practice and get good at, like, so this person asking this question right now, they're going to figure it out. And they're going to walk away from this going, oh, okay, now I'm going to seek out those counties. My thoughts are,
that's it.
Alice, you're going to figure this out. And you're going to go, you know what? Now that's my new game plan. I'm going to go looking for areas that nobody has property for sale, because I now know how to kill it. I know how to come in under the radar. I know how fast this property is going to fly off the shelves. I got this.
Yeah.
And it's perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Today's topic, send the mail out, is what she said.
Yep.
And I think so too.
Yep. Go for it.
Today's topic, the worst property on the best street. This is the meat of the show. All week this week is true cliches about real estate that we constantly hear, and Jill says she just walks away and laughs, just doesn't even hear them anymore. They're so prevalent.
Right. But they're good ones.
I think almost all of them are justifying some version of price.
That's it.
So, and that's kind of really why I want to talk, like, look at each one of these cliches and look at why. So why would somebody say this is the worst property on the best street? This is the greatest deal ever. This is the worst property on the best street in the planet. Yesterday we talked about location. Whatever's making it the best street is location.
It's true.
Maybe it's on the ocean. Maybe it's on the main street in town. Maybe it's out of a Norman Rockwell painting. We don't know.
Right.
For whatever reason, everybody agrees, hey, that's the best street, and everybody wants to be there.
Right.
So do you want the best property? What they really mean is this. The best property on the best street is the most expensive.
That's true.
And the worst property on the best street
is the best deal.
Is the least expensive best deal.
Right.
You're potentially now buying into equity. Well, wait a minute. Isn't that what we do every day anyway?
Exactly.
By sending mail out, undervalued and buying undervalued property and buying equity. Mm-hmm. You're buying yourself an equity position in a piece of real estate by signing your name.
Right.
Well, that's the same thing you do with the worst property on the best street.
Right. I agree. My thoughts are, if you get the worst property on the best street, number one, I put you won. It makes me think of, my parents did this. Can I share this story?
Well, let me one up you.
All right.
It's the worst property on the best street because it's fallen down.
Yeah.
That's how we
Don't go looking for them,
agents.
by the way. Don't drive for dollars and look for this.
I can one up that. Why don't you buy a piece of dirt on the best street?
That's even better.
And pay very little. Now you're buying
That is the worst property on the best street.
But now you're buying equity in the land.
Yep.
And you're creating equity for the builder that you're going to sell the land to in an infill lot situation. So, worst property on the best street, fantastic. Go ahead. I want to hear your story.
Piece of dirt on the best street, fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, no, my parents did this. They bought a piece of property from a bank in Laguna Hills, and boy, was it awful. I mean, it was like vinyl flooring.
Sorry.
I think it still had avocado green appliances, and this was obviously several years ago, but it was awful. So, but it was
like 90s.
Yeah, it was in the 90s. Yep.
It's the RTC downturn.
Yep. And anyway, so it was just, and then systematically, the awful 70s wallpaper came down. It had a great pool and a jacuzzi. I mean, it really was a great property. I wish I could remember what they bought. What they bought it for was, and then sold it for like 3 times as much. I'm not kidding. By being there 4 years, it was just the right property. It was Laguna Hills. Was up and coming. Great schools, like we talked about a little bit yesterday. It was awesome. So anyway, I've seen it. I lived it. It's true. The worst property, best street. And I always think it too. Then the reverse is bad. That's true. You don't want to have you never want to have the most expensive house on the block. For me, that's not bragging rights. I'd feel like I lost. Like, shucks, I overpaid. I'm the idiot that overpaid. And then I'm driving everybody's, value, up because of my mistake. I don't think that's a good thing.
So why would somebody buy the most expensive? First of all, why would you, as a home rehabber, reset the market with the most expensive? I have the most expensive
Do you remember that
house.
agent that we met?
So why would anyone do that?
I don't understand that. They're
Because
walking
their
around
ego.
bragging. That was it.
It's
Walking
'cause
around
they have-
bragging that I reset the market.
Because they don't feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
And they have to sit around and say, I have created the most expensive property on the street.
That's so not us.
No,
I
it's
so want to pay
180
it forward.
degrees.
I'm like,
That's what I want.
Because you know why? Because that agent, the people who bought that house, they're probably going to bed at night feeling sick to their stomachs every night, and it's too late. They overpaid, and that's it. And that agent's like,
even
woohoo.
even worse.
That's awful.
Who would buy that house?
I know. You know what? So you think they have an ego problem too?
Oh my!
Because they want to
yes.
say,
worse than real estate.
"Oh, I paid more than all
Yeah.
y'all."
Yeah, we have family members like that. Jill and I. Everybody knows somebody like that. I have to have the fastest car or the biggest house or that's a huge. I'm not a psychologist and I don't really want to get into that. But geez, why would you ever want? That's insane.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. That's not how we are. I don't walk around trying to buy the best.
No.
I want nice. I want a couple years old. Somebody else depreciated before it got to me car.
Going to the best college, that's a different story. Getting the
Right.
best education, that's a different story.
Right.
Having
Great paying job.
having the best land group, land acquisition and sale investment group on
That's
the internet.
the best.
Yeah, that's a good education driven, and that matters.
Hey.
But material possessions, come on.
Yep. Exactly.
I just watched a show because Jill and I buy a lot of info lots and resell them to builders, and my whole mission in life for the last few months has been getting inside the head of the builder, because those are the guys that they buy our dirt.
Right.
And so the huge trend now is smart homes, meaning they're all connected to the internet and appliances and stuff. So you can walk in the house and say,
Actually, in the car ride home,
yeah, you can start doing stuff.
running your bath almost.
So you should see, if you have time, listener, you should too, Jill. Go on the internet, on YouTube, and look at what you can put, the type of kitchen if you're going to put a kitchen in.
Funny.
It's amazing.
I'm happy.
There's
with
this
our
big
kitchen.
screen. There's a big screen, and you can look at, if you have a baby, you can see what's going on with the baby. It tells you exactly what's in the refrigerator. The refrigerator door closes, and it takes a picture of what's in there and puts it automatically on your list.
That's hilarious.
It's truly amazing.
That's so funny.
So
I didn't know that. That's scary.
That is what's prompting these out of this world price per square foot houses. Hold on. Not the price of the dirt. And so up till this point in time, it's been the price of the land that dictates or the demand, price and demand. But at first it starts with land, and then it's what people are willing to pay. So
Right.
never more has there been a more true statement than now. Buy the worst piece of property, hopefully land, on the best street. There's
Thank
a
you.
huge spread because of all these appliances and stuff.
Do you see the
profit
value?
margins.
I gotta tell you, in our kitchen, we have 2 kitchens on our property, and the back house has a microwave, and the front house does not. That's just the main house, and I'm happy not using a microwave.
I just think we're at a different age and place in our life.
Are we weird?
No.
Oh.
That kind of priority. I will say this, though. Jill has one of the most advanced technological cars I've ever seen in my life.
Well, there is that.
And you love that.
I do.
So, and I got some stuff
This
in
is
my
me
boat.
eating my words right
Some
now.
stuff in my boat that I'll never use that I think's the coolest thing ever. So,
All right.
for us, it's just not about the house anymore, but it's about other stuff.
Too many times in my life I've ate my words.
I will say this. Yeah, it's hugely technologically advanced car that we paid probably 70% of what we should have paid for.
Exactly.
And a boat I paid probably 20%.
Because it's a boat.
And it's just because that's how we do this.
Yep.
It's just because it's better doesn't mean you have to pay.
Exactly. Love it.
Well, you've done it again. You spent another 15 minutes or so listening to the Land Academy show. Join us next time where we discussed $1 million views.
And we answer your question. Post it on our online community, landinvestors.com. It's free.
You are not alone in your real estate ambition. $1 million views.
Oh, boy.
I will never, ever hear that phrase again for the rest of my life and not think of that piece of dirt we passed on in Santa Barbara.
I forgot about that. I was thinking of that show. What was that show with Leach? What's his name? Something Leach. Robin Leach. $1 Million. You don't remember that show?
Yeah. How to Be a Millionaire or something like that?
No, it was about properties. It was $1 Million Properties.
Oh,
and
really?
I can't remember what I'll have to look that up. But yeah, I used to watch that show back in the day.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
He's a British guy, right?
Yeah.
He's an old British guy.
Yeah.
And you can't believe. Then he started doing
Opens up into this expansive bathroom with 14 sinks.
And at the end of that, at the end of his career there, he was doing like gangbanger drug dealer
What?
houses. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm
Or
like,
just-
where are you going with that?
Just to be after
He went to drugs.
it became, there was obviously a different culture of
He's
of
showing
high-end
Kanye
houses.
West's
Yes.
house. Okay.
Yeah, and there's basketball courts and stuff that,
Got
and
it.
it's just funny to see him
In the master bedroom.
funny to see him describing this, like, God, what goes on in that house,
Right.
He's all proper
He doesn't
British about
touch
it.
anything. He's wearing gloves. Ew. All right. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on our podcasts. Like us and comment on what you'd like to see in future shows. And if you're listening on iTunes, please rate us there.
We are Steve and Jill. Information
And inspiration.
to buy undervalued property.